Hey, English learners. Welcome back to Learn English with Chan and Cherry, the perfect place to get comfortable with your English. I'm Cherry.
Hello, Cherry, and hello, everyone. I'm Chan. How are you today, Cherry?
I'm doing great, Chan. Actually, I'm really excited for today's topic.
Oh, really? What are we talking about today?
Today, we're learning how to talk about yourself in English. Like when someone asks, "Tell me about yourself."
Oh, no. I hate that question. Every time someone asks me that, my mind just goes blank.
See, that's exactly why we're doing this episode. So many learners freeze up when they hear that question.
Yes, it happened to me in a job interview last year. I just said, I am Chan. I like things.
I like things? That's it?
I panicked. My brain just stopped working.
Don't worry, that happens to everyone, even native speakers sometimes. But today, we're going to fix that for good.
I really need this. Okay, real quick, everyone listening. If you want more episodes like this, please hit that subscribe button, like this video, and turn on notifications. It really helps us make more content for you.
Yes, thank you for that. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. When someone says, "Tell me about yourself," what do you think they actually want to know?
My life story. Like where I was born, my school, everything?
That's what most people think, but actually, no. They don't want your whole life story.
Wait, really? Then what do they want?
They want a short, clear picture of who you are right now. Think of it like a movie trailer, not the whole movie.
You mean like just the exciting parts, not every detail?
Exactly. A trailer gives you the main idea in 2 minutes. It doesn't show you every scene. Your introduction should work the same way.
Okay, that makes sense. So what goes into this trailer?
Good question. There are 3 simple parts: present, past, and future. Who you are now, a little about your background, and what you're doing next.
Present, past, future. Okay, I like that. It's simple.
Let me tell you a story. Actually, this happened to my student, Maria.
Oh, I love your stories. Tell me.
So, Maria came to me before a big interview. She was so nervous. When I asked her to introduce herself, she talked for 5 whole minutes.
5 minutes? What did she say?
Everything. Her childhood, her cat's name, her favorite food, her cousin's wedding.
Her cat's name in a job interview?
Yes. I stopped her and said, "Maria, nobody needs to know your cat's name right now."
That's so funny, but honestly, I think I do the same thing sometimes.
Most learners do, because in your language, maybe long, detailed introductions are polite. But in English, especially in work or social situations, short and clear is better.
Okay, so what did you tell Maria to do instead?
I gave her a simple formula. Start with your name and your current role, then one interesting detail, then what you're looking for or working on.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Hi, I'm Maria. I work as a graphic designer here in Manila. I actually started as a painter, so I bring a lot of creativity into my digital work. Right now, I'm looking to grow my skills in web design.
Wow, that's short, but it tells so much.
Right? In 4 sentences, you know her name, her job, something unique about her, and her goal.
I need to write this down. Name, job, something unique, and goal.
Perfect. Now, here's the interesting part. This formula changes depending on the situation.
Wait, what do you mean it changes?
Well, talking about yourself at a party is different from a job interview, right?
Oh, true. At a party, nobody wants to hear about my professional goals.
Exactly. At a party, you can be more relaxed. Something like, "Hi, I'm Chan. I'm actually here with my friend Lisa. I love hiking, so if anyone knows good trails around here, let me know."
Oh, that's easy and friendly. It even invites more conversation.
That's the secret. A good self-introduction isn't just information. It's an invitation. You give people something to ask more about.
You mean like leaving a little hook so they ask a follow-up question?
Exactly. If you say, "I love hiking," someone might ask, oh, where do you go hiking? And now, boom, you have a conversation.
That's actually smart. So instead of just listing facts, I should give little hooks.
Yes, think about it like fishing. You throw a small hook and the conversation catches on.
I like that. Okay, but Cherry, what about when we don't know the person? Like an English class or a networking event? That's still scary for me.
I understand. Let me tell you what happened to me in my first networking event in Singapore.
Oh, tell me. I bet it's funny.
So I walked in, super nervous, and someone asked, "So, what do you do?" And I just said, "I do English."
I do English? What does that even mean?
I don't know. My brain completely blanked. The man just looked at me confused.
Oh, Cherry, that's exactly what happens to me.
Right? But you know what saved me? I took a breath and said, "Sorry, let me try that again. I teach English online, mainly helping working professionals sound more confident."
See, that's so much better.
The lesson here is it's okay to mess up. Just don't stop. Restart calmly. Native speakers do this too. It's actually very natural.
Wait, native speakers make mistakes too?
Of course. I mean, have you ever heard someone say, "Sorry, wrong words," or "Let me start over"? That's totally normal in real English conversations.
That actually makes me feel so much better. I always thought I needed to sound perfect.
No one sounds perfect, Chan. Confidence matters more than perfection.
Okay, I love that. So, Cherry, what if someone asks a follow-up question I don't understand?
Good question. You can simply say, "Sorry, could you say that again?" Or, "What do you mean by that?" It's totally polite.
Ah, nice. So, I don't need fancy words, just simple, clear phrases.
Exactly. Simple and clear always wins over complicated and confusing.
Okay, Cherry, here's something I always struggle with. How much should I talk about my past, like my failures, my struggles?
Ooh, great question. This is where things change a bit. You can mention challenges, but always connect them to growth.
You mean like turning a bad thing into a lesson?
Exactly. For example, instead of saying, "I failed my first business," you say, "My first business didn't work out, but I learned so much about marketing from that experience."
Oh, that's such a small change, but it sounds so much more positive.
Yes, it shows people you can learn and grow. That's very attractive in both work and personal life.
I love that mindset shift. Okay, Cherry, now imagine this scenario. Let's say I'm meeting my girlfriend's parents for the first time. How would I introduce myself?
Ooh, that's a nervous one. Okay, imagine this, everyone. Picture yourself sitting at dinner, meeting your partner's parents for the first time.
Yes, my hands are already sweating just imagining it.
Don't worry. In this situation, keep it warm and respectful. Something like, "Hi, it's really nice to finally meet you both. I've heard so many wonderful things about your family."
Oh, that's sweet and simple.
Then you can add something personal, like, "I work in finance, but honestly, my favorite thing is cooking on weekends. Maybe I can cook for you all someday."
Wait, adding that cooking part makes it so much friendlier.
Exactly. It shows warmth, not just facts. Remember, when you talk about yourself, you're not just sharing information, you're building connection.
Building connection. I really like that phrase.
One more thing, Chan. Your tone and body language matter just as much as your words.
Really? Even in a podcast, we can't see body language, but you're saying it still matters?
Yes, even your voice tone shows confidence. If you speak slowly and smile while talking, even simple words sound confident and warm.
Wait, smiling changes how I sound?
Yes. Try it. Smile right now and say, "Hi, I'm Chan."
Hi, I'm Chan.
See? Doesn't that sound friendlier already?
It actually does. That's such a simple trick.
Small things like this make a huge difference. Confidence isn't about big vocabulary, it's about small, warm details.
Okay, Cherry, let's say I want to practice this every day. What's a simple way to get better?
Great question. Practice your 1-minute introduction daily, but change it slightly each time. Sometimes for work, sometimes for friends, sometimes for new social situations.
Oh, like different versions of the same story.
Exactly. The more versions you practice, the more natural it becomes, no matter who asks.
I'm definitely doing this from tomorrow.
One last tip, Chan. Always end your introduction with something that invites the other person to speak too.
You mean don't just talk about myself the whole time?
Exactly. After introducing yourself, ask them something back, like, so what about you? What do you do? It makes the conversation feel balanced, not like a speech.
Oh, that's such a good point. I always forget to ask back.
Most learners do, but remember, a conversation is a two-way street, not a one-person show.
I love that. Two-way street, not a one-person show. I'm definitely remembering that.
So, to summarize everything today, keep your introduction short like a trailer, use present, past, future, add small hooks so people ask more, turn struggles into lessons, and always invite them to speak too.
Wow, that's such simple, practical advice. I actually feel confident now, Cherry.
That's exactly the goal, Chan. Confidence comes from practice, not perfection.
I completely agree. All right, everyone listening, now it's your turn.
Yes, we want to know, how do you usually introduce yourself in English? Do you find it easy or a little scary?
Drop your answers in the comments below. We would love to read them.
And if this episode helped you feel a little more confident, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs this too.
Thank you so much for listening today, everyone.
See you in the next episode. Keep practicing, and remember, your English is getting better every single day.
Bye, everyone. Take care.